So we are back in the van, you guys, after 7 weeks. It has been a crazy story. Essentially, I was working on the van and I was doing the cabinets and stuff, and then I realized the plywood I was using was glued together with formaldehyde, as apparently all plywood was. It was super toxic, so I had to get it all out. I wasted all this money on the plywood that I bought that I couldn't use, and so I didn't have any money left to do anything with wood, so I had to take the van into the dealer anyways to get a New York State inspection. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just get this electric issue that I have going on in the van where it just shudders do 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 at random times, and it's like draining the battery. I figured if I can't work on the van, I might as well do that. So I dropped the van off, and then a week goes by, and another week, and then I call them, and they're like, yeah, we're almost getting to it, and then this goes on for a couple more weeks, and then it's like a month, and then finally, I have enough money to spend on wood again because I've been doing my short strategy, repurposing old videos into shorter videos, which has gotten my views back up, and like I was in a real slump, as a lot of you guys may know. I was basically bankrupt, and for a couple months I was like just barely skating by, or my bank was overdrawn. So like, thank you again to everyone who donated to help support the channel and keep it going. It was like a really dark time. But anyways, it was also just frustrating not having the van because I had to move back into my mom's house. It just felt like moving backwards in life, literally. And some other things were going on at the time too. Like recently, I posted about having this cancer scare with my mom where she had this really serious conversation about, like I'm going to be doing chemotherapy, and I need you to take care of things and blah blah blah, and like, we got into this huge fight, and I made a video about it. The video got censored because you're not allowed to talk about cancer and natural healing, and my opinions from watching my videos. But anyways, that whole drama with my mom actually resolved sort of today. It turns out that she never actually got a test. She just concluded that she had melanoma because I guess the doctor told her that she had melanoma, and for some reason was just like going gung-ho about giving her all these pamphlets on chemotherapy and stuff. And then she finally got the test results back, and it turned out that not only did she not have melanoma, but she didn't even have any kind of skin cancer. It was just like an aging spot. And so that whole thing was just like a complete mind fuck. But anyways, the garage finally called me yesterday after 7 freaking weeks, like that they had had the van and not done anything on it. I'd called them over and over and over again. They just kept promising me they were going to do something, and they never did anything on it. And so finally I talked to them yesterday, and they're like, yeah, we've taken it into the garage, we're looking at it, and it seems that yes, there is a parasitic draw. There's something that's draining the battery. Like we left it overnight and the battery was significantly drained, and we can hear the shuddering issue. So I'm like, great. And they're like, yeah, we're going to start with replacing the battery. And I'm like, well, okay, but you already did that last time because I brought the van in a year ago with the same exact problem to the same dealer, and they just put a new battery in and it didn't fix the problem. Like literally the day that I drove home, the shuttering issue was still going on, but I was like so sick of having waited that time too. It wasn't as long, it was only a few weeks that time, but I just didn't want to deal with it. I just figured it was a minor problem. But now that I'm thinking about like traveling places, it's becoming a major problem. It was also waking me up at night because this stupid thing is coming on in the middle of the night. So anyways, I was very clear with them, like this did not solve the problem replacing the battery. There's some kind of malfunctioning component, and he's like, no, no, don't worry about it. We're just starting with replacing the battery, and then we'll go from there. I'm like, okay, great. So I wake up this morning and I get an invoice. It's like the van's done. And I'm like, okay, what did they do? And I'm scrolling down and there's nothing. They've done nothing except for replace the freaking battery. So I called them up thinking this is a mistake. It's like maybe they didn't list all the things that they did. I don't know, maybe they figured something else out. And the guy was looking through it, the rep, and he's like, yeah, they just replaced the battery. I was like, I talked to someone yesterday and said this is not going to fix the problem. And it's like, they didn't even listen to me. So I waited 7 weeks without my van just to have them replace the battery again, something which I told them was not going to work and which they knew was not going to work because they were the ones that did the work in the first place of replacing the battery. So I started doing some research on dealers with ChatGPT and, you know, like the Ford warranty and all of that. And it turns out that dealers will do this because they get compensated very quickly and very straightforwardly for just replacing the battery. But when it comes to figuring out a more complex problem, they have very little motivation to do anything about it because it's harder for them to get compensated for that sort of work with a Ford warranty or, you know, probably any brand. But hindsight is 2020, and at least I have figured out one thing, which is that the problem seems to be happening at this component called the blend door. The blend door is essentially the thing that mixes hot and cold air to give you the temperature that you want inside the van, and that's the thing that's, like, you know, making the shuttering noise. But obviously it's probably not that's the problem. It's probably some kind of logical component that is not regulating it properly, so it just comes on at random times throughout the night. You know, if I open the driver's door, if I open the back door and get in, it's like, and so, you know, they told me the problem was fixed. And then I just got back from the dealer about half an hour ago. And what do you think happens? The van starts going do 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 as I'm sitting in here. The thing is, like, this is how the entire modern world works. It's just like bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And you can't do anything about it because everything is controlled by these massive corporations and they have no interest whatsoever in helping you with anything. The only thing they care about is, like, selling you the product and then, like, fuck off. So I'm gonna have to take it back again, but I'm not doing it right now because I'm really trying to go to Maine. I have some work that I need to do. I need to install the wood stove. I need to do the cabinets, you know, the sort of shelving that it'll sit on with the piece of stone. And then I need to do the walls and maybe something temporary for me to put my desk in here so I can do some work while I'm staying in Maine. But it's gonna be really cool work because I'm gonna film some barefoot content out in the mountains and at the ocean, which will be awesome. And in general, like, whether the problem's fixed or not, I'm just so glad to be back in my van because it's just like a little slice of sanity, you know, amid this crazy fucking bullshit matrix world. Like, with 99% of people, when I spend time around them, when I have to go to the grocery store, when I have to live back in my mom's house, I just feel like I'm in a mental asylum. You know, I feel like I'm living in a zoo where everyone around me is just, like, insane and not like wild animals, you know, wild humans that are meant to be out in nature, not stuck in this, like, assembly line of life. Anyways, that's what's going on with me right now. I have a few really cool barefoot reviews coming up. A shoe from Vivo Barefoot that I freaking love. It's the best shoe that I've tried since the Magna FG, which is saying a lot because that's, like, my favorite barefoot shoe of all time for all season. And then I've got the new Blaze to review, which I've made some good changes to that too. So yeah, interesting content coming up in the next few days. I've also got some thin totem sandals that are coming hopefully before I leave for Maine, which I'm looking forward to as well. And then just getting, like, the white walls up, getting my desk mounted into the back of the van will make a huge difference, and I'll actually be able to start filming some real content in here instead of feeling like I'm vlogging inside of an empty half-built house, you know. Also, randomly circling back to everyone who donated, I finally caught up with all of the comments today. It took me a long time because I think there were like 100 or more people who commented on that video, and then I was also getting comments every single day like I normally do, so it was just overwhelming to try to respond to all of those all at once. And I just didn't want to skim over people, you know. I wanted to take the time to write a personal message, and if people had videos on their channel, to watch them and see what they were about. So if it took me a long time to get back to you, I'm sorry, but I'm glad that I finally got back to everyone today. And yeah, that's all I've got for now, but I'll see you guys soon, hopefully in Maine within the next couple weeks. Thank you for hanging out. Catch you next time. Peace.